I'm writing this while the memory is still fresh. It only happened a couple days ago. I had Tuesday and Wednesday off of work this week and was hanging out at home. No plans, just chilling and having some quiet time alone. On Tuesday night, I thought it'd be nice to order some food, just to save me time from cooking. So I pulled up DoorDash and found some random place that was still open, and got a small meal. It said it'd take around 45 minutes. I stayed in the living room and watched YouTube on the TV. It was a good night up until this point. After around 45 minutes, I happened to get up and just casually look out the window. I don't even know why, really, as I could easily just open the app to check on the delivery. But when I looked out, I noticed there was a car parked in my driveway. Immediately, I opened up DoorDash and checked the map, and the delivery guy was still 10 minutes away. But then, who was in my driveway? I'm not really a loud-spoken type person, so I wasn't keen on going outside and saying anything to them. I mean, surely they'd realize they were in the wrong place and leave without me having to say so. I went back to the sofa, but got up and checked out the window every couple of minutes. When the DoorDash order arrived, the car was still there in the driveway. From the window, I couldn't really see much into the car, so when I answered the door for the delivery, I asked the driver if they'd seen anyone in there. He said yeah, there was just some guy in the driver's seat, but he didn't really look too hard. I thanked him and he left. I felt really uncomfortable about this. I tried to gather the courage to go out there and see what they were doing, but only 5 minutes after sitting down to eat, there was a knock at the door. I jumped up from the couch. My heart was racing, and I stood looking at the door for a minute before walking over slowly, trying to stay quiet. When I looked out, no one was there. The car was still out there, though. I took a deep breath and opened the door. I stepped outside. It was dark and quiet. I looked down the side of the porch, but still saw no one, so I walked down the driveway and up to the car. When I looked through the window, whoever had been in there was gone. A chill came over my body. I moved to the back of the car to get the license plate, only to find it didn't have one. That made me even more scared, because it made me think whoever this guy was, he had planned for this. I moved away from the car to head back inside, as I was really starting to get uncomfortable, and felt now that it was definitely a good time to call the police. I stepped inside and closed the door behind me, but immediately I got a really strange feeling. The house was quiet, but it was like my senses picked up on something being off. I crept over to the living room and looked at the couch. My phone was gone. Every bone in my body felt like it just stung with fear. Before I could even get myself to move, I heard the slow sound of a door hinge creaking open. Then a few footsteps moved quietly down the hallway toward the front door, but they stopped just before passing the corner. They were waiting there, right around the corner near the front door. I couldn't just run out. I was frozen for a few moments, then started to very carefully and quietly make my way to the other side of the house. No matter which way I chose, I'd have to pass by the hallway that I knew the man was in, so whatever I was gonna do, I knew I had to do it fast. I hesitated for a second. I think the anxiety of what I was about to do took over for a moment, but then I got a hold of myself and made a dead sprint for the back door. I unlocked it and ran out of the house, and just as I stepped out the door, I heard the man behind me call out my name. Not even just my first name, but my last name too. It confused and shocked me enough to make me turn around and look back. The man was barreling toward the back door, and I could see most of his face, but had no recognition of ever seeing him before. I turned back and continued running. The area behind my house was just a flat continuation of the neighborhood, not really any places to hide. I could hear the man still chasing me though. I kept running, making it past the next row of houses, and decided to just start running down the sidewalk and hope a car or someone comes by to help me. But after a few minutes, I looked back, and the guy wasn't there. It took a long time to find someone willing to help me to call the police, and so the man wasn't anywhere around by then, having taken his car and fled. And apparently, the guy was smarter than I thought, because I immediately tried tracking my phone, but he tossed my phone in my front yard before leaving, so we couldn't track it to find him. If this were just a regular break-in or robbery or whatever, I'd be a lot less traumatized, but clearly it wasn't that. There was more to it. This was a stalker, having known my full name and likely a whole lot more about me. There's no saying how long he'd been watching me for, or what he wanted to do. It's only been a few days though, and I'm already planning to move far away. I can't sit around knowing whoever that was still knows where I live. If there's any updates in the next few weeks, I'll try to let you know.